What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. What's up, family? So there is nothing more, I don't even want to say depressing, but every time I log into Twitter, something like takes my train of thought away. Anyway, there's nothing more depressing than coming off a beach and into the snow. It's like, come on, guys. Amy Robach claims she was blindsided by the magnitude of the TJ Holmes past office affairs. Reportedly feels like collateral damage. Oh, Amy. So these are the Good Morning America anchors that both got fired for cheating around. But Amy, TJ, never trust a black man with some light colored eyes. Girl, he has got ladies. I'm so sorry that you felt like collateral damage, my love, but I'm sorry. Yes, she was a notch in his belt, and I'm so sorry. Let's see what else we got. A bunch of mishigosh. Is that how they say it? It's always a bunch of mishigosh. Some of this stuff is just so ridiculous. It's just, I just cannot. Paris Hilton had her little baby. That's hot. I just had to do that. That's hot. What else is going on? Justin Bieber sold his music catalog for $200 million. Justin's ballin'. What else? I had seen something else that I wanted to talk about. That was kind of really ridiculous. So Kanye's going off about the paparazzi taking a gander at him and his new wife. Let's take a look at Kanye and listen.
Congratulate on your honeymoon.
Bro, just stop. Y'all paparazzi. You understand? It's like, stop. Just stop.
Yeah, but I'm in the alley.
No, listen, bro.
Yeah.
It's like antagonistic.
I just need this one shot, please.
You got the shot, but I'm saying
it was not a good one. I respect you.
It's like, that's my thing. It's like, you don't even know. Y'all just jump up on people like this, and it's just like...
I apologize if I caused you trouble, and you told me to stop, and I stopped.
You know the first time I ever took medication why I was? Because I got mad at paparazzi.
I'm so sorry.
You know what paparazzi was?
No.
The same one that shot Britney.
Oh.
So what happens if I take your photo, if I take your camera right now?
I would not like that. Please don't do this. I walk away, and we're all good.
Oh, but would I like it? Do I like y'all doing that to me all the time?
No, I apologize, and I'm walking away.
So let people know.
Kanye having a whole dialogue with paparazzi is like hilarious because it kind of seems fake in a little bit, in a way, because why? Just go. That's the life of being rich, man. Just smile and keep it moving. Some other stuff. So a dog fatally shot a Kansas hunter in a freak accident. Yes, that's right, a dog. He stepped on the rifle in the back of the pickup they were in and shot the dude. These dogs, man, They out here wilding. Now rest in peace to that man. I gotta stop because I be in these I be trying to troll, and you can't troll death, and I'm remembering that. So bear with me, because I can get a little trolly. I'm definitely a troller. I think that is gonna be, because I'm tired of like searching for the story that I was looking for. Let's see. Talked about Paris Hilton having her baby. Let's see what else we got. Check. I have a lot of story time for you guys, like a lot. There's just so much mess that I saw today. Scandals, of course, and all other kind of discord. Pete Davidson removes those dumb tattoos that he got of Kim Kardashian and her kids. That was so stupid. This man, I hope he stay in therapy, because that was stupid. Let's see what else that we'll talk to before we get into the... So I didn't know everybody was mad at Beyonce for performing in Dubai, because it's a trend. It's a homophobic country, but a lot of people are like, so is Florida. I don't know, man. I don't even know. So, if you guys don't know, Butane, I don't know. I'm sure I'm still saying it wrong. Butane Cookman. So Deion Sanders went and coached at a HBCU. That's a black university. Well, another former NFL player, went to go coach at Butane Cookman's, and I'm pretty sure I got that wrong, school. And he was let go within 25 days. And because he pretty much went on a rant about how terrible the conditions are there, and how these students are just, so let's take a look at this, because they had an interview with this.
Campus today, angry, protesting, not just football players, but students talking about mold and other conditions. What do you say to them?
What I say to them is what I've been saying to them, because I walk the campus every day when I'm on campus. What I say to them is that we're working on the issues. I just invested $250,000 in one of our buildings for remediation of mildew. When you have a hurricane, when you are 80 and 90 degree weather in Florida, the Florida conditions are not like the Chicago conditions. They're not like other places. I'm from the East Coast, so I know what those conditions are. That's mildew. That's not necessarily mold, by the way. Some of that you're showing on the screen is a function of things sitting in water for a period of time. So they're not showing you everything. Yes, there are some of those kinds of things, but you might also see that those portions of the building may not even being used. So again, we are working very diligently to clean up a lot of these.
What do you say to those students who were on the campus today, angry, protesting, not just football players, but students?
Things when I would reflect that the first Hurricane Ian, we were the first university to evacuate in the state of Florida. Had we not done that, we probably would have had casualties. Things when I would reflect that the first hurricane.
Let's see what the comments are saying, because and if you would have seen them pictures, some of them rooms was covered in mildew. I don't know, or mildew, mold. I know what mold looks like. They said, y'all know HBCU's been stealing from the students' money. I graduated from one, but still they need all the money up front, and we'll talk issues later. Somebody says, stop lying, sir. You sit up here with your eyes closed, lying to us and discrediting the students. Listen, this is like a university that people are paying tuition for. And I get it, like HBCUs, but a lot of people do donate to HBCUs. So I'm trying to figure out, a whole accounting thing needs to go down, because there is no way I'm sending my child to a school covered in mold. Paying, they want the money up front, and they'll handle the issues they find later. This is terrible, and it's a bad representation, and it's stereotypical stuff that we don't want to have. But this should not be the case, If you guys were needing help with the dorms in bad conditions, I am sure that somebody would love to step up and throw their name on that. So I'm not really buying it that, these people have had to go out and protest, and it took Ed Reed, an NFL player that was going to coach, to go down there and rant about how dirty the campus was and trash, and they fired him, like I said, within 25 days. Well, the students, they took to the streets, and good for them to be like, hey, no, he's right, so it's sad and unfortunate, but it's like, if people are paying tuition to go somewhere, they should not have to be living it shouldn't just be the thing, well, oh, it's a black university and they're struggling. That is not a good enough excuse. I'm sorry. It's just not. And those universities are not free whatsoever. Other than that, guys, let's get into these stories. I'm going to keep it light on the real world news, even though there's some stories that are disturbing. I'll let you know before we get to them, but let's just go ahead and get started.
Younger women tend to be more impressionable. I think older women, in my experience, you 30, 33, 35, the experiences that you have at that point is just, a little bit too much for me. And I really think in some cases you really can't teach an old dog new tricks. So I prefer, my women to be of the younger variety.
If a woman wants to respect you and give you the respect to lead and be her partner, why do you need to have that level of power over her if you're not trying to manipulate someone?
See, it's not power, it's impressionable. I've never seen a successful partnership where the other person wouldn't allow themselves to be impressed upon. If I'm a person and I got a vision, I got a plan, I got a whole program, I would think that the person that wants to be with me is willing to learn and willing to adopt some of the ways or even some of the principles that I have.
That's not impressionable. Impressionable is basically getting someone to do what you want them to do because they're easily swayed and easily persuaded to do what you want them to do.
Who said that? Did you make that up?
Well,
when you hire somebody, you look for somebody that's impressionable.
But
why would I listen?
Right, so you even train them. So you can, when you hire somebody, you're about to train them.
Now,
And that's why you want them impressionable.
So these young people prove to me more and more every day that they're not ready for real relationships. I don't know where they been getting their stuff from. These men are like, I want a feminine woman, because there's some narrative that women have become too masculine, and y'all don't even know what y'all want. Like, when you get in real relationship, all that stuff is not even gonna matter, because at the end of the day, masculine or feminine, you need someone that's gonna support you and be there for you. Either one of y'all health can fail. So if you got some little prissy feminine woman that can't step up and be able to work and support the household if something happens to that husband, good luck on this whole you want this ideal person, because it's literally not how marriage works. It's just not. Y'all can play these little games in y'all mind where y'all think like, my spouse should be like this and my spouse should be like that, but it's literally not. And yeah, I do agree with him though. He's not ready for an older woman. And if he's thinking 30 is old, that just shows how young that dude is. Like, come on.
In excess of 10,000 calories in front of the camera in videos that are entitled, I Hate Myself, as one example, Goodbye YouTube and Life, or celebrating our 700-pound milestone. And look at him now. Here he is in front of so much McDonald's. I can't even explain to you if you're not looking at this. He is just sitting in front of the camera. And in one video entitled, Nobody Likes Me, I'm Done, he is seen sobbing while shaving his hair off into a plate of eggs. In another video, he filmed himself smearing Cheetos-colored ramen noodles all over his face, while in others, he is seen having screaming matches with his now ex-husband. But he has a net worth of $7 million, and it has landed him in a $2.3 million penthouse in Las Vegas because people will pay to watch you die. There you have it, guys. This is the direction in which our nation is headed toward. Anything for a click, anything for $1.
So she's talking about this guy. His name is Nikado Gluttony. And yeah, he's big on YouTube and TikTok, and all he does is eat, and he's gotten to like 700 pounds. He was like on a breathing machine. I mean, yeah, he's worth $7 million, but how much longer will he live? For real. Like, I just don't even understand the craze behind that. Like, it's sad. It's sad all around. I mean, say he does live long, what would his legacy be? Because I don't even remember any of our world eaters. Like, you know, those people that eat all the hot dogs on that. And even them, they're not 700 pounds. But I'm just trying to understand this. Like, what the heck kind of life is this? I mean, he's always crying and depressed. And I hate when I agree with Candace Owen. But what is going on?
With this in mind, we are releasing today's statement in English, Russian, and Ukrainian. It is the first time we have done this, and we hope it garners the attention it deserves in the capitals most affected. Joining us to reveal the 2023 time on the Doomsday Clock are Siegfried Hecker, Chair of the Bulletin's Board of Sponsors, Director Emeritus of the Los Alamos National Laboratory, and a Professor of Practice at Texas A&M University and the Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey. Daniel Holtz, co-chair of the Science and Security Board and a professor in the Department of Physics and Astronomy and Astrophysics at the University of Chicago. Sharon Squassoni, co-chair of the Bulletin Science and Security Board, research professor at the Institute for International Science and Technology Policy at the Elliott School of International Affairs at the George Washington University. Mary Robinson, chair of the Elders and former president of Ireland. Elbegdor Chakia, member of the Elders and former prime minister and president of Mongolia. Today, the members of the Science and Security Board move the hands of the Doomsday Clock forward, largely, though not exclusively, because of the mounting dangers in the war in Ukraine. We move the clock forward the closest it has ever been to midnight. It is now 90 seconds to midnight. Let me now turn the discussion to members of the Science and Security Board to elaborate on the statement and the current time. I'm pleased to welcome members of the Science and Security Board, Steve Fetter, the Associate Provost, Dean of the Graduate School, and Professor of Public Policy at the University of Maryland. Steve is a recognized expert in nuclear risk and advanced technologies. Suzette McKinney, a Principal and Director of Life Sciences for Sterling Bay, and a leading practitioner and expert in emergency preparedness in urban settings. Shivan Kartha, a senior scientist at the Stockholm Environmental Institute, whose research and publications for the past 25 years have focused on technological options and policy strategies for addressing climate change. We will then turn to members of the Elders, Mary Robinson and Elbegdor Chakia, to discuss how global leaders must respond to today's dangerous environment. Steve?
Nuclear risks increased significantly last year, due largely to Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. Putin has repeatedly raised the specter of nuclear use. In launching the invasion, he warned that whoever tries to hinder us should know that Russia's response will be immediate and will lead to consequences you have never faced in your history. A few days later, he ordered Russia's nuclear forces to special combat duty. In announcing the annexation of Ukrainian territories in September, Putin declared that he would defend them with all weapon systems available to us. This is not a bluff. And in case anyone missed the reference to nuclear weapons, he mentioned that Hiroshima and Nagasaki had set a precedent. These nuclear threats were intended to deter direct involvement by the United States and NATO. And the U.S. and NATO have avoided direct conflict. But as careful as the U.S. and NATO might be, The possibility of nuclear use cannot be discounted. Accidents, mistakes, and miscalculations could lead to unintended escalation. And Putin might deliberately escalate if faced with the prospect of defeat, if Russian forces were being pushed out of Ukrainian territory. Putin has given no indication that he's willing to accept defeat. Despite repeated military setbacks, Russia has pressed on with increasingly desperate tactics.
So I know y'all fell asleep on that because that's how much our attention span is in today's world. But yeah, the Doomsday clock has been moved up. Y'all should be paying attention to that and say your prayers because, yeah, I'm not trying to make y'all in fear either because this place is not where we want to be forever anyway, eternally. But yeah, just remember that. Get the bigger picture of the landscape of this life you're living and know that it is also more than just a 700-pound man eating McDonald's and crying on YouTube. Let's keep going.
How about this? Why don't we tell women don't fuck him and have a baby from him if you don't think he your husband? Don't fuck him if you wouldn't marry him. Don't fuck him if you wouldn't. Don't have a baby from him if you don't want your kid to be like him. Mm-hmm. Ooh. We don't even have those conversations because we don't want to take no accountability. Yep. We always want to blame.
I mean, he's ringing a hard truth, but if that were a truth, then you men would not get no sex, period. Because these new age men, everything he just said as to why not to have sex is all that's really out here. And I'm not on no man bashing tip, but like for real, like I wouldn't even have kids if that was the case. Like, we literally try to work with y'all to grow with y'all. So, I mean, although I agree with what he's saying, if every woman did hold that standard, nobody to be having sex. Because a lot of these people these days, they not doing what they supposed to do. They just not. Like, a lot of people are hobosexuals. That means they don't have no job, but they just want to have sex. I learned that. I kind of like it. Let's keep going.
Governor, on the AP African American Studies course that was rejected by the state, been a lot of criticism of that move. People saying, this is exactly what we were fearing with the individual freedom bill. I don't know if you or the commissioner could maybe expand a little bit more about what was in that course.
As you know, in the state of Florida, our education standards not only don't prevent, but they require teaching Black history, all the important things as part of our core curriculum. This was a separate course on top of that for advanced placement credit. And the issue is we have guidelines and standards in Florida. We want education, not indoctrination. If you fall on the side of indoctrination, we're going to decline. If it's education, then we will do this course. So when I heard it didn't meet the standards, I figured, yeah, they may be doing seriously. It's way more than that. This course on Black history, what's one of the lessons about? Queer theory. Now, who would say that an important part of Black history is queer theory? That is somebody pushing an agenda on our kids. And so when you look to see they have stuff about intersectionality, abolishing prisons, that's a political agenda. And so that's the wrong side of the line for Florida standards. We believe in teaching kids facts and how to think, but we don't believe they should have an agenda imposed on them. When you try to use Black history to shoehorn in queer theory, you are clearly trying to use that for political purposes.
I don't know what it is all entailing. The Republicans do control the House now, so it's going to be interesting what's going to roll out. And it's going to be very interesting if DeSantis decides to run in 2024 because he's very, let's just say if it was between him and Trump, I think that he would be championed more for them. So people stay woke. You got to pay attention to the dooms clock. You got to pay attention to DeSantis. Like, the tables are shaking around here.
Boy, I'm going to tell you something. Man, I'm going to tell you, this is why sometimes, man, I be trying to be good, and not violate any community guidelines, and I really have to think about what the hell I'm going to say before I say it. But I'm going to tell you, when I read stuff like this right here, where a 55-year-old grandfather impregnated his 11-year-old granddaughter, man, I tell you, I'll be about to lose it. I'll be about to lose my fucking shit, man, because I can't believe that there's sick people like this right here walking amongst us out here. And sometimes, man, not all the time, but sometimes the fucking judge just give them probation and let them go. Now this guy, man, impregnated his 11-year-old grandchild. I want you to hear me good now. I then turned around and told her to tell the people at the clinic that she had went to the county fair and had sex with a 14-year-old boy. But what happened when the police and social services got involved, from what she was saying to the time of her pregnancy, it did not equal up. So then she turned around and confessed that he impregnated her. And check this shit out. While he was impregnating her and raping her, he made the girl's 9-year-old sister watch. They gave this motherfucker 200 years. And you know what? That still ain't enough time as far as I'm concerned. But I tell you, man, these people, it's in their DNA. I keep saying it. It's in their DNA from 1619 to right now. That's all they know to do is rape, kill. But they call us the monsters. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I only talk about what the hell I see. And he's guilty because he's already been sentenced. And he admitted to it. So you know if he did the grandkids like that, you know damn well the grandkids' mother that he did the same thing because birds and feathers flock together. Thank God, now he'll get a chance for Big Billy to be standing behind his ass, shoving some meat in his ass. Thank God for that. I'm out of here.
Now, y'all done got Pawpaw mad. Y'all done got him good and mad. He did not mince words. I literally can't wait until I get this old, and I really hope that I'm talking to y'all and just going off and cussing. I love this for him. I love that these people, they put on the thickest glasses so they can read, but when they get a hold of them words, y'all in trouble. Papa ain't playing with y'all.
And the Jesuits, they put their whole matrix behind these numbers. So if they want to hide if they want to script a football game, they would use the teams' names against each other to create either 33, 666, or some other deep cipher using numerology. They have to tie it together. Nothing is ever random. Like the World Cup, that's not random. You know, the competitions in most games are built on this matrix because it's like we talked about energy harvesting. It's spiritual energy that they want. So everything has to be in line numerically in order for these spells to work. It can't be all over the place. It can't be free competition. They're after your frequency and your vibration. And the only way you can control that is through numerology and through colors. Like, for instance, that Oakland game, the Oakland played the LA Rams, and that was right after Brittany Griner came home. The guy who kicked the field goal, his last name was Gay. Gay in gematria is 33.
Wow.
So it's like that. They play like that. So it's to be inevitable to keep this on a whole new... See, they have to tell you that things are fake. In their own way, they have to tell you. They have to tell you the truth. So the system is set up for the Most High for us to decipher the system to know what's real and what's fake based on letting them do it through numerology.
Okay, and so that was former NFL player Larry Johnson, and he been on this conspiracy kick for a while. Listen, I believe some conspiracy things, but let me tell you, that man, that's wild. I couldn't even imagine like watching TV with this man, like what he's saying, what he's saying. Like it's really wild. So this next story I'm about to come up with is about an apostle named David Dupree. And it's pretty disturbing, but it is this guy who's saying that he pretty much molested him and everything. So I'm just warning you. The apostle did resign. So I'm assuming it might be some. He says it's due to his busy schedule, but come on, let's be clear. The name of the church is Solid Rock, and it is in Massachusetts. But there's a lot of victims coming forward. This is one of the victims' account. I'm just giving you guys some background and a little forewarning that it's kind of disturbing. So let's go ahead and get started.
Where his linen closet is and the kitchen. He pushed me there, grabbed my behind, licked me in my ear, and said, I'm going to get me some of this. I froze up because this is my grandfather. What kind of grandfather does this to grandchildren? Those that are victims, and those of you that work out there in the world of when victims speak, it's called fight, flight, and then there's a freeze. They added the term freeze in there. And some of y'all that's commenting on here, you can stop because you still support him. And after this is over, I'm going to go ahead and block you again. Because some of y'all still been going. And that's fine. But let the record show I ain't no liar. I froze. That was the very first start of his sexual perversions. And just like everybody that's trying to stand up for him, trying to say that, oh, we wanted it and all of the above. No. Ain't nobody want nothing. He's such a man of God, why he couldn't see that. Anyhow, so after my brother spoke about it, I went to a licensed clinical social worker at my place of employment. And I spoke to her about everything, and I said to her, my brother now has HIV. What am I supposed to do? Because I'm married at this time. She said, Devin, just go get tested. I said, that's easier said than done. Because what happens if the test come back positive? How am I supposed to tell my wife? How am I supposed to tell my family and my wife's family? Who gonna believe me? She said, just go get tested. Just hold that right there. Some of y'all that's commenting, if your children at the convocation, don't comment on my live. If you're still sending your kids there, do not comment on my live. Because this ain't the first story that you've heard. Stop sending your children up there. Now leave me alone. I'm so serious right now. Do not comment if you're sending your kids and your family there. Now, anyhow, he came down. We were going to go get a chair from my grandmother, the youth department. One of our elders was coming to pick me up. And I was at his hotel with him. And that's when he started doing his foolishness. Dry humping is what they call it. Now, I ain't going through a whole bunch of details, but I'm just giving you a little few points here. And I sat in that truck, going all the way to Columbia, not knowing what. He came down. We were going to go get a chair from my grandmother, the youth department. One of our elders was coming to pick me up. And I was at his hotel with him. And that's when he started doing his foolishness. Dry humping is what they call it. Now, I ain't going through a whole bunch of details, but I'm just giving you a little few points here. And I sat in that truck, going all the way to Columbia, not knowing what to say or how to feel. Because we were taught, we all sin and fall short of the glory. And I'm not saying that I did everything right in Solid Rock. because nobody has. But one thing I can say I didn't do, I did not force myself onto somebody. So let's just make that plain. One thing led to another and another and another and another. He came down one year to preach for my grandmother's anniversary. And he ended up having to go to the hospital for apparently blood clots. We stayed there. Different preachers came to preach while he was in the hospital. Myself and two of my brothers, we were there the entire time. We actually drove him to the hospital. One day, it was a real just dark, gloomy feeling in the room. It was just him and I. And he said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I said, Bishop, what do you mean? Because in my mind, I had already stopped calling him, for the most part, Granddaddy. I did a few times, but I guess my mind equated Bishop because that's a desired title. So I would call him Bishop over anything. I said, what do you mean, Bishop? He said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I said, what do you mean you don't know what you're going to do? She going to tell my business. And I said, who? So the CNA that was taking care of him went to a church that he used to preach to in Yamasee, South Carolina. All right? And she's going to tell my business. No, they can't do that because simply that would be against HIPAA violation. Nobody can, if they're taking care of you, they can't tell it. And he said out of his mouth to me, it was either 2014 or 15, one of those years, he said out of his mouth to me, they say I have HIV/AIDS. And I got sick to my stomach because just a few months prior, he had went completely all the way there. And he asked me this stupid question, I need you to be with me. And I replied to him and said, be with you? First of all, and I have nothing against anybody of whatever love life they have, so please don't take it that way. I said to him, first of all, I'm not gay, Bishop. Second of all, I'm in a committed relationship. Me and Brittany were dating at the time. I said, and third of all, you're telling me you have an incurable disease. I can't be with you. What do you mean? Put this in your notes when you get ready for your official message, sir. Anyhow, we left with all of that. I went and purchased my wife's engagement ring. All of that. I went and purchased my wife's engagement ring. Still trying to be a grandson. And I said, sir, I want you to look at my ring that I got from my wife to be. And he got so upset. I don't want to see that. And the angry faces, I don't know if it's Solid Rock or who it is. You can be as angry as you want to, but the man did it. Anyhow, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. So I said, fine. Later on that day, he said to me, I want to apologize for how I reacted because I shouldn't have acted like that. I told my grandmother, I said, my granny, you know Granddad acted a nut when I tried to show him the ring. So victims give clues that they are a victim. And then they step back because they don't know how to talk about it. So I said to her, she said, well, why would he say that? Well, maybe it's because you won't be able to travel as much as, you've been traveling. I said, well, maybe that's what it is. And I left it alone. So before I went and got married, I went to him respectfully. And I said, Bishop, I don't mean any disrespect when I come to you with this question. But do I need to go get tested? And he said to me, you ain't got to go get tested. Ain't nothing for you to worry about. And I apologize. Somehow I got off of there. Y'all still on here? If you're still on, just say you're here so I can pick back up. I apologize. Are y'all still here? Just reply yes. Okay. So he said to me, you don't have nothing to worry about. You ain't got to go get tested. So in my mind now, I'm thinking, well, does this man really have HIV/AIDS? Or did he just say that to me so that I could be with him? So I trusted him and never got tested. I would get in line when people would come up to preach about healing and get in line and say, Lord, please, if it is HIV in my body, please don't allow it to affect my wife. The emotional distress that I went through every time I got ready to be intimate with my wife, no one will ever understand. Will never understand. And we find out that we're having a baby. And now in my mind, I'm worrying. Lord, please, if my baby's born, please don't let her come up with HIV. This is nothing that she asked for. This ain't nothing that I asked for. These were my exact words. So, fast forward back, when my brother talked about the HIV, I went to the licensed clinical social worker and talked to her, and she said, just go get tested. I broke down in her office and I cried. I said, what am I supposed to tell my wife if this does come back positive? She said, we'll get to that when we get there. I walked over to Walgreens in Savannah, Georgia. This bag has been sitting in my car for over a year now. I walked over to Walgreens and I purchased an at-home HIV test. After my brother spoke about what he had. You see, I ain't share a lot of this with my grandmother. And I don't have to cry because I've cried enough over the past year and I'm going to get there soon. I went and purchased the test. It was the longest 20 minutes of my life. I walked over to my place of employment, swabbed my mouth, put it in the solution, and I waited. Yeah. And everything started playing back in my head. Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you talk to somebody? Why? Could anybody see it? 20 minutes. That felt like forever. And after 20 minutes, I looked at the results, and the results came back negative. So I said to myself, there's no need for me to talk about it to anybody. It's negative, and I don't have to talk about it. I don't have to talk about it. It's negative. I'm good. He can go on with his life, whatever. And it ticked me off because although I'm negative, I've got brothers that are positive because of this man's foolishness. And you got people that still there in Winston-Salem shouting and speaking in tongues. Every last administrative assistant that sits on the board knows about this man's filth. Every last one of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. They know about what he is about. But instead of anybody sitting him down, they push him on up. You can come on with your live later just like you did in your last convocation. And that threat that you said you was going to let Solid Rock attack anybody that came up against you, let them come for me. I ain't got nothing to tell but the truth. And this ain't to make the church look bad, because the church may be bad, but the kingdom of God ain't never been bad. And that's what I'm a part of, the kingdom of God. And people say, why you didn't say nothing? You must have wanted it. You must have liked it. Whatever. You a liar. Who in their right mind gonna want somebody that's 2.5 times bigger than them on top of them? Held me down. Let's talk about that. So what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to holler? Because the truth be told, one of my brothers that talked about how his mother and father and them lost everything, their family was in the room next door. The mother, her children, and her grandchildren was in the room on Main Street. Right next door when he went all the way there. Let's talk about it. I shared every detail with my wife's family because I felt like they needed to know. They needed to know. And you know what I've gone through the past year? That somehow this story, this situation got so twisted up that Jacoby is the bad person. Where I had a bond like this with my in-laws, now we like this because of this man. Do you blame me for not wanting to talk to nobody? That after I've shared with you what was done to me, and you still go shout? No, I ain't got nothing to talk to you about.
I'm really speechless to that story, man. It's sad, it's crazy. I feel like he should have went to the doctor and not a CVS for an HIV test, but that's just my opinion. Yeah. I'm gonna end on that because I got crap to do. But yeah, watch out for these wolves in sheep's clothing, guys. Your relationship with God is most important. I say that all the time because some of these people in the church ain't legit at all. And stop telling y'all problems to the internet. Go to therapy or go before the Lord. But I would never put myself on the internet. And the fact that he told that story with the comments on is wild because people are going to be saying all kind of crazy stuff. But I guess he's built for it. Send prayers to all these people tonight. They all need it. And I'm praying for you guys. F is for Family is signing off. You guys have an amazing night.